Yeah, so how do we overcome daily distractions,
You
Carlos?
beat them up.
Yeah.
Don't have anyone distract you or anything.
Okay, so how do you do that? Are we talking about people? Are we talking about things? Are we talking about the iPhone?
I mean, anything can distract you at this point. You know, your phone, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case is. At the end of the day, you know, it's okay to sometimes, you know, when you're laying down at night and just scroll through Facebook and Instagram, but you really got to focus on what's really good for you and your long-term goal, what you're doing.
I think I just read that there are 1.2 billion people on Facebook, and the average person, like in the world that's on it, spends 55 minutes a day on Facebook.
Wow.
And then every time we get interrupted, it takes us more than 17 minutes to get back into flow. So you told on another video, if you guys watched or not, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday for 1 month, you called expired listings, which are people that hadn't sold their property, and got 8 deals out of it.
9 listings. Oh, 9
8
listings,
deals
8 deals. Closed, yes. Mm-hmm.
So like 90% of it closed, which came out to like $400 an hour of your time.
Right.
Were you on your phone or were you focused?
No,
That's what I want.
absolutely not on my phone. You know, you gotta be focused. You gotta be.
So how did you do that?
You got to get yourself in the mindset. You know, the way I do this is I just look at my goals and my whys. You know, I got to have a reason why I'm calling. You know, do I want to sit down from 8 to 11 every day and make phone calls? Absolutely not. I'd rather be doing something else, you know. But at the same time, I look at my goals and
or someone. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but you gotta just you can't do that. So don't try that. Anyway, but yeah, you gotta look at your why. Like, what is the goal? What is the ultimate purpose of you making phone calls? Do you want to close deals? Do you want to buy a boat? Do you want to, you gotta have a purpose of what you're doing things. Because if you don't have something to shoot for, you're gonna sit there and be like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm gonna be done now. Like, I'm gonna stop. So
figure out what you want, and then like, all right, we hear that stuff.
Right.
But actionably, right? Mm-hmm. How did you stop yourself from looking at your phone? Seriously, 3 hours? I look at it every second. Luckily, I made my company based on my phone.
Right.
If I didn't, I would be so homeless right now. So how did you do it? What do you do with your phone? You put it somewhere?
Well, I'm making phone calls from my phone.
Okay, you're on.
So I just put it down, and my automatic face down. My automatic dialer makes my phone calls, and while I'm making phone calls, I write my declarations, or I'm writing things that I want to do,
really?
So as I'm calling people, I'm writing my declarations, like I will set up these appointments, or I will make this much money, or I am. So like while I'm doing that, I'm setting my purpose right then and there. I'm not wasting my time. You got to just find a way to just not distract yourself, even with like not just phone, just with anything else. Like it could be like a bad girlfriend or boyfriend, or it could be like friends that want to go out with you and things like that. You really want to prioritize your time.
How do you prioritize your life? I mean,
right. I
seriously.
mean, you just got to do the way I just do it. I just make an intention to not get distracted. You got to tell yourself. You got to just stop yourself sometimes from getting distracted. Sometimes it's okay to say no to someone. Hey, I can't go out. I got to do some things. Or
I learned from a mentor the same reason, for example, real estate agent, and this could a lot of self-employed people. The same reason that they fail is the same reason they got into the business, which was to own their own schedule.
Yeah.
Like, we start a business because we didn't want to do the 9 to 5, and yet we don't understand that it's not 9 to 5 anymore. Mm-mm. It's 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And a little bit more after that every day.
Every day.
Because you're building an asset.
Yep.
You are the business, meaning you are the metaphorical ecosystem of belief that's in your head in the beginning, every day, all day, until you speak it enough into existence that other people believe what you believe.
Absolutely.
And then they know what to do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So how the heck do you do it? Where does that come from? Did you just know this? Was it intuitive? Like, oh, I got to say no to this.
Right. It just comes from knowing what you want at the end. Once you know
begin with the end in mind.
Exactly. So so if I want to make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 this year, or if I want to take a trip, or I want to buy whatever it is, I know I have to make these phone calls, or I got to do this, or I got to set up appointments, or I got to meet with a certain amount of clients, I got to connect with a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
So you won't distract yourself if you know what your goal is while you're making the phone calls, or you're making the appointments, or whatever the case is. So
where did this come from? Were you always like that though?
No, absolutely not. I mean,
what age and what happened? You got to remember, like some kind of memory.
It's just
discipline came.
It's just for me being an independent contractor since I was 18. You know, I always just had a commission job. It just came part of experience. Just coaching and I was never the best at doing this. You know, I when I was in college, I still owned my own business while I was in college, and I had 27 employees and 5 receptionists, and I'm going back to school, and distractions are literally everywhere. So I just had to make a decision to maybe not do this today, because maybe later on in a couple of years I will be able to do all this, party and go out all the time in my own in a bigger way.
Now you're 26 now?
I'm 29.
Really?
Yeah.
You have good skin cream. Yeah. So you started 18, it's like 11 years.
Yeah.
How many hours on average would you say you worked per week since you're 18?
Per week?
Yeah.
At least 40, no matter what.
No matter what, 40.
Yeah,
right?
and you know what? Sometimes my business is always commission and it's setting up appointments. So it's not sometimes.
Since you were 18?
Since I was 18, yeah.
All right, I'm going somewhere with this, but
yeah.
Go.
It is. Sometimes I didn't even work that many hours, but I worked smartly, and I if that's even a word, I worked smart. Sometimes maybe I didn't work that many hours because I was finishing college or doing whatever it was. But if I wasn't working, I had someone else doing it, like an assistant manager, or maybe somebody else was running the system that I already placed in. So maybe I wasn't personally working, but somebody was taking care of that, no matter what.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you do just the math, if you're doing 40 hours a week and you're not working weekends, after about a year, that's between 1,600 and 1,900 hours.
Right.
And if you're working smart on what gets you those results in the kind of businesses you're in, and you're doing that for 9 years, it's simple math. Robert Greene had a book called Mastery, where it's like when you achieve 10,000 hours into something, you're going to have that down. It's going to become a part of your beingness, right? Your habitual, unconscious pattern of action that triggers your thoughts and so on and so forth. So you're a veteran in this, and it's like at the end of the day, if you say that you didn't come out of the womb with discipline.
Right. And
I recently just filmed a video about cognitive control, emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman was talking about they had a marshmallow test, and 10% of the kids or less, they got asked, all the kids got asked, don't take the marshmallow. And they're like 8 years old. And most of the kids, because then if they didn't take the marshmallow, they'd get 2.
Right.
Most of the kids just took it and ate it.
Right.
But the ones that didn't, they looked at them like years later and they were more successful.
Wow.
And they had, intuitive
more
cognitive
discipline.
control. Whatever that came from, the question is it nature or nurture? But you're going to prove that when you just keep doing some kind of activity long enough, it gets easier.
It gets easier and easier.
Discipline builds, and
it just becomes a second nature. You just start doing it, and you don't even think about it. And once it becomes you have a habit of not looking at your phone. You have a habit of not going out when you shouldn't go out. Once you make that a habit, it just becomes part of the normal
thing. Maybe the key word, the buzzword here is patience.